go ahead and get started on our next conversation here, presentation with this pair who are going to tell us about how XR is helping the world's largest pump manufacturer keep things flowing. So Christian and Mads, take it away.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, just need the clicker here. All right, hi guys. There's no slides on the last string. Here we go. My name is Mads Troelsgaard, and I'm CEO and co-founder of SynergyXR. And we want to be the world's leading platform for creating the corporate metaverse. And who are we to claim that title? Well, we have been in this game for a long time. We were originally Unity Studios, so we were founded by the founders of Unity Technologies back in 2008. We're experts in augmented virtual reality. We've done over 250 successful projects for some of the largest organizations in the world, won several awards for our solutions, also together with Grundfos. Actually our first VR project was in 2010 within VR training. That was 2 years before Oculus went on Kickstarter, and our first AR project was in 2011 for a Scandinavian furniture company called Bolia. That was 3 years before IKEA went out with the catalog AR app, and 6 years before the IKEA Place app was announced. And
all right, my name is Christian, coming from Grundfos. Always lived or worked in the universe of business, IT, digital, and that's what I do with Grundfos. I'm part of this data and AI team focusing on XR. And Grundfos, I'm not going to spend too much time on that. If you click, thank you, we can do that. So Grundfos is a large pump manufacturer out of Denmark. We're 75 years old, actually last year. This was the first product that was made by our founder down in a basement where he actually repaired bicycles. And then one day he got this order to do an irrigation system or an irrigation pump, and that's the pig, because they call it the pig because it kind of looks like one. That's 75 years ago. What we do now, of course, is that we produce around 18, 19 million pumps a year around the world, everything from small circulators like this one to huge pumps within industry or commercial buildings or water utilities, etc. We pioneer different things for the world. Some of the most pressing things in the world is, of course, water scarcity, and it's also the whole energy side of things. 10% of the world's electricity consumption actually goes to pumps, approximately. So there's a huge area in there where we can both do better on that, as well as providing water and solutions around that to different places of the world where that is needed.
yeah, and back in 2018, me and my two colleagues, Thomas and Sune, took over the whole team of Unity Studios and co-founded SynergyXR. And we did this because we were identifying a need in 2017 from all these different companies. They had like similar needs. They wanted a platform where they can create their own augmented and virtual reality experiences themselves without going back to expensive external developers like we were in the past. So we started developing this platform. And we can compare the whole situation to the late 90s, where we are with XR technologies today. Back then, every company needed their own website and internet, so they had to go to a web developer, and they created this website for you. And then if you needed a change, you had to step back in line, like even though it was just an image or a video or a new underpage or something like that on your website, you had to step back in line for these web agencies. But then they were disrupted by the CMS systems like WordPress and Joomla. And we are today in the same situation with XR technologies. It's very expensive. You need external experts for developing this, and it's complicated. So that's why we started developing on this SynergyXR platform, which we launched last year. And it's a platform that covers all major XR platforms, so HoloLens, Oculus, tablets, mobile, and PC as well. And it also has like one backend on enterprise level security. So our customers like Grundfos and GSK, Vattenfall, Siemens Gamesa, who is on this platform, upload their own content. So it has multiple use cases as well. Like for Sonovo, they use the platform for remote assisted maintenance in their factories. We can use it in sales and marketing. And Grundfos also used it for onboarding of graduates. But that's not what we're going to talk about today. It's a different case. I'll hand it over to Christian.
Yeah, thank you. So we do many different type of XR activities in Grundfos across the board, both between the different segments, internal, external, etc. The one that we're going to look today at is both within what is within we could call XR training, guidance, and classroom experiences. And it's a good example because it takes in many of the different challenges as well as opportunities that we can see with this technology in different use cases. The case that we have is a water network training, where we need to get people in Grundfos to better understand the whole chain that happens from that you take water from some form of intake, like groundwater, and then how you treat it, and then finally how you distribute it out to people's apartments or houses so that you can drink it. But that, if we just take one step back before and just look at kind of where we're coming from. So we have three major areas that we look into when we say Grundfos XR. One is, of course, the whole remote presence and digital twins, working from anywhere, and then training in classroom. And if we look at it, we have for the last 5 years or so been doing VR training on the shop floor around the world, where people, shop floor workers can take the headset on and they can train some specific machinery or maybe quality or security safety processes. So we do that a lot. We've also done a lot of exploration into digital twins as well as remote presence. We've done some great stuff together with Synergy around this. And we do a lot of things, and we can see a lot of this coming up. Then 1.5 years ago, of course, when COVID-19 just hit us, we started using Synergy as the platform to reach out to customers. So we started sending out headsets to major customers. The first stuff that we did was in Sweden with the municipality customers, where we had our sales and the technical people take them through different type of water utility solutions for that. This is Niklas. He is the salesperson. And that's just to say that our users are totally new to this. But here he is sitting on his boat in the Swedish archipelago doing the meeting up there with Swedish customers. I don't know how much that says about him, of course. I mean, that's great. But it also says something about the network, etc. in Sweden, that you can do that. But also the easiness to actually do this. And that's really one of the things that we want to get in here, is the whole possibility of doing these things on the fly, and that you don't need to do a huge setup, that you can actually activate things very quickly when you have the situation. Big thing that we're focusing on right now is, of course, this whole reality capture. And I don't know how many hours I've spent to do scans of pumps and water systems, etc. And that's a huge opportunity for us, how we can use that. We have had some dogma rules. We're going to skip this very quickly. Speed before excellence. Try, and just learn from it. Explore and experience. I could explain XR and the use cases for ages on PowerPoints, but it's not until people put a headset on or whatever it is that they actually start to understand what the possibilities are. And then reuse. We don't do what we do only for one platform or one use case. We try to reuse everything across the board. But why do we then focus on this classroom training? Well, the main reason is this training, well, the three main reasons I would say is this training freeze. We have a challenge with getting people to physical trainings because of, travel restrictions or whatever it might be, or the cost of having people go away from work for a long time. Then we have this whole reduced and restricted travel that we specifically have had now in Corona times. And getting this increased remote presence that we so much need when we're so isolated as we are. And then finally, of course, the evolution of training. We're tired of PowerPoints. We're tired of Teams. It doesn't say that we're not going to do it, but there's just something about how we do training and how this type of 3D universe around this just makes it easier for people to understand and remember things. This is classic. You've seen this before. So this is a typical training. 54 slides or 56 or whatever it is. And the question, and that's not wrong. That's what we do, and that's what we will continue to do. But of course, there's a question, do you remember then slide 13 afterwards or not? And did you get the context of everything? Because it was a huge solution where you need to understand the network. This is what we're trying to tackle with this. So how do we do that for this case that we're looking into? Well, first of all, we need to have the passion, the storyteller, etc. And we did that by finding an expert, or in this case a teacher, who really wanted to try this out, And then we just tried it, and we iterate again on the different things that we learn from it. The other one is, of course, to have a flexible platform. Ta-da! Where I can do this myself, or where the trainer can do this themselves to set things up. It should not be down to have, I mean, if I would do a classroom training, I don't hire someone to ask me, where do you want to have your posters or whatever. No, I do that myself, and it's the same thing here. We need to be able to do it ourselves. And then finally, of course, the whole content side of things, being 3D, 2D, or that whole aggregation and curation of content and the production of it. Just to look in very quickly to the process, it's a glimpse into the process that I went through for this one. So on the top floor you have here is a sketch where I've been sitting down together with the trainer, Kostas, by the way. Thank you, Kostas, if you're watching this. Did a great job. Sitting down with him, trying to understand what is the environment that you need to have, and then building that on the SynergyXR platform with the components that we had. And then the bottom part, in some cases, we need to have better 3D assets. And it's kind of the same process. But the interesting thing here is that we try to build the assets so that they're removable and changeable, and again, reusable. And that's what we did with this one, and you'll see that later on here as well. 3D assets is everything. There's no question about it. We have this, I wouldn't call it a toolbox, but it's at least it is a fixed 3D asset repository that we're starting to build, because it's never going to end. But we're starting to build in these categories. So products, of course, systems and applications, where our products go in to explain a system or an application. Environments, like a home or a waterworks or a pumping station or whatever it is. And then finally, props, that puts things into perspective that you don't get, for instance, in a PowerPoint. Not only that, of course, because this is fixed things that you will just reuse, but you need to have something that gives you that presence to the real world, and that's where we're focusing a lot on what we could call rapid 3D asset production. That is, of course, 360, and we've seen 360 so many times before, it's not new, but it works, and it's simple. And everyone can do it on their phone or a cheap camera or whatever it is. The other one is photogrammetry. We've seen that as well. But now suddenly I just did scans of my two colleagues here, with the Polycam app. And 5 minutes later, I have an avatar, or whatever. And the same thing goes, of course, with reality capture. It's so effective, and it's so easy to use. This was the result. So we kind of split it up into two environments. So first you had a classroom class where you kind of get people in there and they can talk to each other, and we had some networking and mingling. And then we had this centerpiece, or this tabletop, where then Kostas in the red shirt over there, he is explaining the whole process, and then he's using all the references around him with the products or the solutions or the posters, etc. And then we've done that. Within the second part, we take them over and beam them over to this Beta Waterworks, which is a huge model, of course, and we can't always have that. But where we had some reality capture scans, 360s, and we took them through the steps of the whole water treatment process. And that's really effective, that you walk around there, and in our business, you follow pipes. Oh, that pipe is going over there, and then it goes on, and what happens there? And that's what literally we did in the 3D asset as well, or this environment. Follow the pipes. It's so important. And of course, we have a lot of nice Grundfos pumps in there that distributes the water to everyone. And this is, of course, a full multi-user. And I know there are things that will be worked on with the engagement and the design and new features and all those different things. But this works. It's easy. All the users were totally new users in there. And it worked, right? And I can prove that by looking at, of course, the results. So I measured, and I have that up on the corner. I know this is not it's scientific. But I just measured how much you know about water networks before and then after. If I would have done this with a PowerPoint, it would probably be 2.4 as well. But at least it's not 4.2. So we didn't make them dumber. That's really good. But you cannot argue against the different type of quotes, etc., coming out from an activity like this. Right? So within context and perspective, really like this. Waterworks tour, going from station to station, being there literally, all those different things. Of course, there's some I liked how you were able to bring additional things. So in the middle of a conversation, yeah, well, let's bring this 3D model in, or whatever it is. I was missing smiles on people's faces. Facilitation, that you can get through all the different steps and learn about it, how to do things. You know, comparing it to classroom, a lot of people saying that, well, this was much better, of course. The comfort, I get a little dizzy and stuff like that. And then, of course, opportunities. Where can we reuse this somewhere else? So tons of feedback coming out from that. The challenges, and I'm wrapping up, there's tons of challenges. I mean, I could mention all the ID problems and, oh no, like rookie mistake again after 5 years, I didn't charge my headset, or it didn't load, or the ID didn't work, or whatever it is. I dropped my controller and I was standing there in the room trying to get the controller so I was still within my safe zone, all those different things. That can be fixed and will be fixed. The two major ones that I see, or we see, is the whole content side of things. Because I can do this for one classroom, 10 classrooms, or whatever it is, but if I want to scale this to 1,000 application trainings, or 10,000, or whatever it is, that process, the pipeline of getting our products, solutions, all those different things just needs to happen. And there's a long way for us to go there, to get there. And the last one, of course, culture, maturity, adoption. It's still new for so many people. But we are getting there, and it's one activity at a time to get people to go where we want to go in this. So that's it for me. Everyone took, of course, a selfie at the end of it, and I'm passing it over to you, man.
Thank you, Christian. Yeah, I'm just going to finish up, just include what we're looking into with this platform. So we want to integrate more complex training, which we're working on right now, so we can actually record things. Still, it's no code. It's really just drag and drop and move things and start recording this. Then we're also looking into IoT data, integrating that, and that's more for our service and maintenance part of the platform. And of course, direct integration with 3D scans. Today, I can do a scan, and within 7 minutes, I can have it in collaborative virtual reality. But it could be even faster to getting those scans in to work around that content side of it. So we're gonna wrap up with this. If you wanna try and experience this, you can go to the website and sign up, and then in 2 weeks' time, we'll get back to you, and we can do a demo with you live from Denmark.
I'll take you to Bale Waterworks.
Yeah, you can try the whole thing, and Christian and I will be present in there in VR.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks. So, is there time for questions or no? Yes. Okay, so we've got a few minutes for questions.
Very good. I have some Swedish and Danish shot glasses here, so the first question can choose a Swede or a Dane. A Swede or a Dane.
We also got 2 T-shirts.
I don't have any shots.
It's a medium and a large. For good questions.
Oh, I'm a Swede, by the way.
Questions? Anyone?
Anyone? Nobody wants the glasses.
Otherwise, I'm giving you the shot glasses.
I'm really interested in the pipeline, the development pipeline, and how long it took you to build that sophisticated a set of training and models.
So the classroom, the water networks itself. Well, I think it took us 2 weeks to go from idea to have it done. But
wow.
Of course, we didn't work at it for 2 weeks.
But that's pretty amazing. The assets were already...
Yeah, so the big asset needed to be created during that time as well, and we had a real good 3D artist to do that. So that was helpful, and that's not going to happen every time.
That didn't take 2 weeks.
It'll
take a couple of days.
Yeah.
Wow, okay, that sounds very impressive, actually. Yeah.
So Swedish or Danish?
Danish, please.
Danish?
Yes.
There you go.
Another question. Anyone? Oh, yeah.
Hi, I'm trying to better understand the difficulties you had with bringing the 3D assets in. For example, let's say you have a pump mechanism and you have it obviously in some modeling application.
Yeah.
And what level of detail are you bringing it in? Is it, what about the textures, representing materials? Do people actually care about the materials? And what was involved with all that process?
Well, I mean, if we take this one again, or some of the similar cases, usually what happens is that someone says, yeah, well, we have a 3D movie. Can we use some of the things from there? And no, you can't. And then, yeah, well, we have the CAD files. Can we just reuse them? And that will help us to get started. But what people don't understand is the whole real-time rendered models, that all the process to go through the cheating and the faking and everything to get that done. So right now, manually, we can handle that, and we handle that, both internally with some resources, taking CAD from CATIA or whatever it is, and then transforming that. And then, of course, we're using Synergy and other external parties for that as well.
But it depends on the level that you need it in. Because you can export from SolidWorks a GLB file that you can directly upload to Synergy and just get it in there. But then you don't get all the niceness on it. So it depends on your purpose of what, is it a design thing? Are you just going to collaborate with some other mechanical engineer? Then it's probably good enough directly from the CAD model. It depends. Yeah. But of course, if it's a large model, it will struggle with the small chipsets in the standalone headsets.
And the problem is that when we create the first pump, then a salesperson like Ty here, he will say, oh, I love that. Can I have that in exploded view? Like, okay. Which makes sense. I'm not saying that, but that's a huge work just there. So we're still trying to figure that out and navigate through it and setting up the process, the pipelines, and all those different things. We'll get there. It just takes too long time. But
it can still have animations in the models.
Yeah. Now I'm trying to talk it down, but it was one of my challenges. Hey, Swedish shot glass.
Thank you again, Mads and Christian. Applause.
Thanks.
Thanks. Really impressive work.